It is Wednesday night, March 9th, 2022, and you're listening to another brand new episode of the Kicking Out Podcast. I'm Tanner Lee, along with my co-host, Paul Zartman. Paul, the fallout from Revolution did not disappoint tonight.
No, Revolution did not disappoint, clearly, and the Fallout did not disappoint either.
Yes, for those listening that are not viewing the show, Paul is tapping his KOP predictions title, which he successfully defended on Sunday. Not only did he defeat me, I have to give him his dues. He was perfect all across the board, 9 for 9.
That was the first time in history, and I really regret that I didn't join the DraftKings pool because I could have had some money.
Yeah, you could have. I wonder if that included the buy-in matches too. So I would have missed the Chris Statlander one. I thought she would beat Layla Hirsch, and she did not.
Yeah, I would have lost that one as well.
But yeah, kudos to you. I can't be too mad. I mean, the women's title match ended up costing me. I thought Thunder Rosa was going to take it off of Britt Baker, but Britt successfully defended it against Thunder Rosa. Rematch going down next week in San Antonio for the St. Patrick's Day. Slam or Smash?
St. Patrick's Day Slam, I think.
Slam. I always get their events confused with slams and smashes and whatever the titles are. But
yeah,
we'll talk about that more right when we get into the show. But before we get into recapping tonight's show, a few business notes here. Last week we said that we were going to do a promo code on our merchandise website. That code is now live. That code is Madness in all caps, MADNESS. Free shipping on any orders from now through April 10th.
So go buy some KOP merchandise, support a great podcast, and look great doing so.
Yes, indeed. And what were your overall takes from Revolution before we get into tonight?
Oh man, it was such an action-packed show.
Surely
it was great from start to finish. Wardlow's a babyface. I'm all for this. There's been a lot of teases, Revolution, and then tonight as well, which I'll get into when we recap the show, that have really, really got me scratching my head. I know I'm probably looking too much into these things, but it happened at Revolution and it happened again tonight, and that's all I'm going to say about that for now.
Well, you can't leave everybody in the dark. You got a lot of people probably don't know what you're talking about.
All right. I'll bring it up. So tonight, the center stage was set up again. The platform was in place. The steps were there, as if somebody was going to come up from in between the tunnels and be there.
Are you talking about Cody Rhodes?
Could be. I don't know. Maybe he's letting somebody else use it. There was a Twitter war about who got to use the middle, whether it was Jade or Tay or, Red Velvet or who else, all the women were aiming for that middle spot. So maybe somebody is going to get to use it, or maybe Cody is swerved us all worse than we ever imagined. And he's going to come back, and he's going to come back as a heel on the ROH side.
I don't know. It's quiet on the Cody front, which is really weird right now. I don't know.
It's almost scary because
according to Dave Meltzer, he's got multiple offers, balls in his court, but the WWE wants him to decide pretty quickly. But if you do follow WWE programming, one of their top stars, Seth Rollins, doesn't have a story right now going into WrestleMania. That's where I'm kind of thinking Cody's got to fit in there. So we'll see. I don't know.
But does he have to have a storyline?
I would think so. I think one of your top stars, you want him to have a pretty featured match. But
I got to give it to these guys. They pulled a AEW. There was more focus on the Madison Square Garden show this past Saturday than I think there has been around WWE programming in months.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sean Ross Sapp released that it was eerily quiet. There was talk backstage at MSG, and they weren't allowed to say what.
Well, honestly, when I had read that, I thought Cody's got to debut and win the title off Brock.
That is honestly what I thought. I will be the first to admit that I do not always follow WWE, but I spent Saturday night on my phone just refreshing every 30 seconds to see what was going on.
Well, and see, that's what they want you to do.
Yes. I didn't tweet about it. I didn't like anything. I think I like retweeted one or two things. But overall, I mean, it looked like it was a pretty solid show. It was a fun show. So I give them props. They did a live show, they did a house show, and it was good.
Going back to Revolution, we're talking about debuts and everything. Yeah. William Regal, All Elite, and Swerve, man. All Elite.
Yes. I had stepped away briefly to get a drink, and I heard William Regal, and I dropped everything that I was doing. Luckily, I didn't have anything in my hands, and walked back around the corner just to make sure I heard what I heard, and saw William Regal on my TV, and I was excited.
He might have had the biggest pop of the night.
Oh, yeah.
I liked how he did it, too. He came up from the side, no entrance music, no nothing.
Just walked into the ring, didn't say anything on the microphone, got into Moxley's face, got into Danielson's face, and then walked out.
Yep, and we'll have more to talk about it, including him tonight's podcast, because he was a big part of tonight's show for sure. So, any other thoughts on Revolution before we get right into tonight's Dynamite? Anybody stand out to you? I came away thinking it was Wardlow's night.
Oh, I agree. If we're picking wrestler of the night, I'm going Wardlow. I mean, it was so great when he walked down there and couldn't find the diamond ring. I was like, oh, is this it? And then, Punk hit something on MJF, and then he goes, and grabs it. And I was like, here it is. Yep.
That was on top of already winning the face of the Revolution ladder match. So
yes, absolutely. Which, I look forward to hearing your thoughts about the TNT Championship.
Yeah, my thoughts definitely have changed going into next week after the result of tonight's main event. But let's get right into the show, shall we?
Let's do it.
The show opens up with Chris Jericho's Judas theme, kicking everything off. And then JR says, it's Wednesday night. You know what that means. Jericho comes out and he says that last Sunday was one of the best nights of his career, although he lost. He thinks it was one of the best matches of his career and arguably the best of his AEW run. He thanks Eddie Kingston, claiming he brought out a side of him he thought was gone. Jericho says he didn't live up to his word after the match, and his word is everything. He didn't shake Eddie's hand, didn't tell Eddie he respects him, so he wants Eddie to come out so he can shake his hand and let him know. Eddie does come out. Crowd's chanting for Eddie. Eddie's so over right now, Paul, it's not even funny.
I don't think Eddie cared how over he was. He tried to be a heel out there, and it wasn't working. He kept telling the fans to shut up. He didn't care, and they weren't having any of it. They were still cheering for him.
Eddie said the Friday night before the biggest match of his career, he didn't want to show up. He wanted to go out drinking, as Jericho had gotten his head. A fan tried to do the what chant, and Eddie says, show them some respect as Steve Austin isn't here. Thought that was pretty good. He says 4 people told him that they didn't commit suicide because of him, and that's why he showed up. After the match, he went to his hotel room and cried because he wanted to make those people from the Fan Fest proud. Eddie gets emotional and says he hopes he did that. Eddie tells Jericho the handshake wasn't for him. The handshake was for Jericho. It sounds like a Chris Jericho problem. He says he dragged out the man who he looked up to in Japan that was showing him respect. Says Jericho proved he's still the man and still number one, but Eddie questions if that's enough to fill the hole where he doesn't want to show respect to young guys. Jericho says everything Eddie just said was right. Jericho tells Eddie he has his undying respect. He thanks him for giving him respect and offers to shake his hand. The 2 men do shake their hands, but then 2.0's music hits. They come out with Daniel Garcia, start jumping both Kingston and Jericho, beating them both up, but then Santana and Ortiz hit to make the save. They get a hold of Garcia, It looks like they're going to hit him with the bat. They give Jericho the bat, but then he cracks Ortiz and Santana with the bat. He's working alongside 2.0 and Garcia. Hager then comes down, screaming at Jericho, questioning what he's doing. Then he blasts Santana and Ortiz as well. Sticking with Chris, Jericho smashes Kingston over the head with the baseball bat. Then Hager power bombs Kingston from the ring apron through the table. Worst spot of the night, in my opinion. I hope Eddie's okay. That was ugly. I don't know what Jake was thinking. Definitely didn't do that safely. Jericho then gets on the microphone and tells us all that his new group is called the Jericho Appreciation Society, and that's entertainment. Two things, Paul. What do you think of the Jericho and Hager heel turn that split up the inner circle? And what do you think about this faction's name?
Okay. I knew Inner Circle. We've been talking. Inner Circle was going to break up. I didn't expect it to be this way.
Me neither.
But based off of past experiences with Jericho, it didn't really surprise me.
I'm more of a Jericho fan when he's a heel, personally.
Yes. I love Jericho as a heel. That's when he does his best work. That was when he was Y2J.
And can I say how good this guy looks right now? How good a shape? He looks like he's 10, 15 years younger right now.
Yeah, I know. He's lost a bunch of weight, put on more muscle mass, toned up some more. The hair's more of a natural color now.
Yeah.
And the beard's cleaned up.
Yep.
I should probably follow in his role there and clean up mine. But yeah, he looked great.
Yeah.
So I noticed that last week on Dynamite. And it really showed through on Revolution and then again tonight as well. The name.
It's going to take some time to get used
Society.
to it. I thought they had it right there. Inner Circle 2.0. You take the Inner Circle, you take 2.0, you combined it.
Boom. Yes. I don't know what happened. I think getting rid of the Inner Circle was the right idea, though. But
no, I agree. Sammy's on his own. You still have Hager paired with Jericho. I think Hager's a better heel. I'm not a big fan of Jake Hager. I've been outspoken on that on the podcast, but I think he is a better heel than he is a face. Now Santana and Ortiz can go with Eddie Kingston, reform LAX to an extent. I think it's great. And they already have the new Jericho Appreciation Society, JAS, as I'm going to call it, t-shirt on shopaew.com.
Oh, of course they do.
Didn't take him long.
No, he probably said this is the Jericho Appreciation Society, and somebody probably hit enter on a keyboard to send it live.
Yep.
So it was live on the website before Jericho officially got the words out on cable television due to the delay.
Most likely.
But I don't know. I can't get behind JAS quite yet.
Maybe it'll grow on us. Maybe.
Yes. I don't think the name will.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if we eliminate Hager, I'd be okay with the group.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm glad 2.0 and Daniel Garcia are going to be more primed in the position. I like that. So,
of course, I thought they were going to go with Moxley and Danielson at first, but hey, nice little swerve.
Garcia at least, yeah. But they get a little taste of the spotlight now. I have to do that when I talk about 2.0. I have to.
Oh, I know. It takes me back to the last time he defended the BTE title on BTE with the coach, and that was something. It was great though that they were in Connecticut and they had somebody joining them called the Coach.
Yep.
That wasn't a stab at anybody, I promise you.
We then see CM Punk being interviewed after the dog collar match as footage from the encounter is displayed. He says he'll be digging dried blood out for weeks, but that CM Punk is dead. Long live CM Punk. What did you think of that match on Sunday, Paul?
Oh, that was excellent. That was everything I was hoping it was going to be.
But it was a fun one.
It was. Not quite sure how the chain happened to come off of MJF's collar, but somebody didn't have that tight enough. But here's the problem I have with MJF. It's not his blood. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, here's the problem I have with the booking of MJF. He never wins the fallouts from the feuds. He always loses the last match. He
won against Inner Circle. He threw Jericho off the cage and won that match.
But he lost at All Out to Jericho. And if Jericho would have lost, he was going to retire.
Yeah.
The final fight.
Yeah. I guess you're right. I was trying to give him something.
I mean, he did beat Darby at Full Gear, but that was a short program.
Yeah.
Usually with the longer ones, he did beat Cody, which I always thought they were going to run that one back, but I guess we'll never get that, at least for a long time. But yeah,
ROH.
I thought it was good. What'd you think of the throwback to ROH entrance by CM Punk? And have you seen all of the wrestling community on the internet up in arms about this? And what's your take on that? Because I have a take on it all, but I want to know what your feelings.
Okay, I thought it was great. That's where I was introduced to Punk. I used to watch ROH more than I did WWE.
So you were a
So
ROH DVD guy or videotape
uh,
guy? I mean,
I
back
found it on. We had either Direct or Dish Network at the time, and they had a channel that had it.
because
Now
they,
I
I
don't
mean,
know if they were live or if they were reruns, but there was weekly shows on there. I got to see Samoa Joe. I got
mhm.
to see Bryan Danielson. I got to see CM Punk. I got to see Seth Rollins. So I mean, yeah, so that's why I was so excited when those guys signed with WWE. But we saw how well that went for most of them.
I was not an ROH watcher back then. I was just WWE. But I knew of his attire in ROH. When that music was hidden, I thought it was his ROH um, throwback song, his entrance, and then you confirmed it for me that it was AFI, and yeah, I'm familiar with AFI, and I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Um, but for all the people bashing people that didn't know that, I don't know why you have to bash people for not knowing that. I mean, um,
Because the wrestling community is toxic.
it's the worst at times. I
It
mean,
is. It is. I want to go back to spoiler free, no dirt sheets on the internet wrestling when, the most you crapped on the other person for was because they would watch WCW on Monday night instead of Raw. That was the worst that you got back then. But now it's like, oh my gosh, you don't recall this from 20 years
2002
ago?
or 2003, you're not a fan. Well,
Yeah.
some of us might not know every bit of wrestling history there is, and I liked how Excalibur explained it to everybody that did not know. Thought that was nice. That's why they have them here. That's why they have commentators to do that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That
Excalibur did
just
a
really
great
bugged me
job.
this week when I'm seeing other people bash on other people for not knowing that.
And maybe you watch the dirt sheets more than I do and kind of the Twitter stuff more than
Right.
I do. Because I like to pretend I'm still in that time frame where the wrestling community wasn't
Well,
toxic.
I pay the $5 for Fightful Select, which I think is the best $5 you can get for wrestling coverage. So
I
I pay
just
the
need to bite the
$5, so
bullet and do
I'm gonna
that.
follow along. If I'm spoiled once in a while, I'm spoiled once in a while, and usually they'll let you know spoiler alert in the headline. So if you don't want
Right.
to know, you don't read it.
But something I saw, and it was on YouTube, and I think it was from Wrestle Talk, and I don't know if you follow them or
Yeah,
not.
yeah, I'm familiar with them.
Um, was a statement that CM Punk's entrance at Revolution was a silent apology. I didn't understand that reference at all. I mean, is it an apology to ROH? Is it an apology to the past of him and Colt Cabana? I didn't get all that, so I didn't watch the video. I probably should,
Yeah, I have no
and
idea.
maybe I will tonight or tomorrow and kind of educate myself on what that apology was for. But I don't think it was. I think it was him showing tribute to the company that Tony Khan just bought and the fact that he
Absolutely.
can use that because it's in the library.
Yeah, and he's wanted to use it for a while, and
Oh
now he
yeah.
officially can. And I mean, he got emotional in the post AEW Revolution scrums,
Yeah.
talking about ROH and how he feels like it's his baby in the right hands, and it's not going to be, just a tab on a shitty app. So,
Yeah.
which I got a kick out of. He's always got to take a jab at WWE while he can. So,
Oh yeah. Until
um,
Vince finally sends him a cease and desist, he'll do it.
so good stuff there. On to the AEW World Championship match, which was just wasn't really advertised that much. I think Tony put up a
Oh,
graphic about 2 hours prior to the show, 2 or 3 hours prior to the show. Adam Hangman Page defending his championship against the number 2 man in the rankings, young Dante Martin, who just turned 21 last week. They shook hands to start things out. Hangman used his strength to drop Dante down with a few shoulder tackle takes, but Dante, of course, picked up the pace and rocked Hangman with a drop kick and a few chops. Hangman responded by springboarding and hitting the lariat, sending Dante to the outside. He then launched himself over to the top rope to take Dante out. Hangman then unloads some more chops of his own inside the ring, but Martin hit a few himself, so kind of having a chop fest there, Ric Flair style. Hangman then exploded with the lariat in the corner, which he followed up with a huge clothesline, dropping Dante to the mat. Dante then tried to leap over Hangman, but he got caught and got hit with the Death Valley driver. But Dante kicked out. Dante continued to fight back and forth, sending Hangman out of the ring, and he followed up with a moonsault from the top turnbuckle to the outside. Dante then looked for a drop kick from the top turnbuckle, but Hangman caught him in midair and turned it into a power bomb. But Dante kicked out yet again. Dante then sent Hangman out of the ring once again. He looked for a springboard to the outside, but Hangman pushed him back into the ring. Immediately, Hangman launched himself into the buckshot lariat, and then he covered him for the 1, 2, 3. After the match, Schiavone went into the ring to interview Hangman, but Hangman told Dante to get back into the ring. He told him that Dante was put in a tough spot last year when Darius, his brother, got hurt. But look, he pushed himself all the way to a title shot, and Hangman said he will be going for the tag team titles. Not he as in Dante and Darius of Top Flight. But when he makes it back here, he'd love to do it again. Adam Cole then appeared telling Hangman to shut his mouth. At Revolution, he proved that Hangman wasn't untouchable. Adam Cole congratulated Hangman for his fluky victory. He says anybody can get lucky once, and next time they face it won't happen. Adam Cole challenges Hangman to a 6-man tag match next week. He has 2 specific young men in mind who Paige knows very well. Adam Cole says he will make Hangman's life a living hell, and he will not stop until he gets what he wants and what he deserves. He won't stop until he hears a new AEW World Champion, Adam Cole, baby.
And then Hangman's music hits.
Yep.
That was the best part, in my opinion. I know that was probably set up not to hit Adam Cole's music, but just him doing his whole tagline and then Hangman's music hits. I just thought it was hilarious. Now you mentioned that it was kind of a Ric Flair style. Almost nobody took like 5 steps and then face planted for no apparent reason. Right. So it was almost Ric Flair style.
But I mean, we knew Hangman wasn't going to drop the title, but
no.
Once again, Dante showed off. Man, the kid's only 21 years old, and he just keeps getting better and better. He's one of those talents. I have to stop what I'm doing when he's on TV and watch because he's so electrifying to watch. He's so good.
Man, he's fast. He's agile. He's strong for being such a little guy.
His hang time is just ridiculous.
Oh, man.
He's so athletic. And then, set up the 6-man tag match, which we will later on in the show find out who exactly is going to be in that match for next week. So, planting some little seeds, though. Interesting. I like it.
Yes,
especially if you watch BTE.
A lot more seeds planted tonight.
Mm-hmm. We then got Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, the new tag team with William Regal, against the Workhorsemen, which is JD Drake and the guy's last name's Henry. I don't remember his first name off the top of my head.
That guy.
But Anthony Henry. Excuse me, there he is, Anthony Henry. But basically, Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley won pretty quickly. And after the match was really the big part of it. William Regal got emotional talking to Schiavone and how they met years ago and how Schiavone was one of the guys who really helped him out more than anybody. He brought up how he wasn't employed with his former employer, aka WWE, anymore. So he took 2 months off from watching wrestling, but then was hearing that Bryan Danielson was talking about him on Dynamite. So he checked it out, and then he saw that he was going to fight Moxley, who he met Moxley 11 years ago. Pretty much he called Bryan Danielson the perfect wrestler, Jon Moxley the crazy sadistic person who will take it over the limits, and pretty much said they needed a team together. And he said he warned anyone who steps into the ring with him, they will not like the outcome. You'll either have to step up or get stepped on.
Yes, it was. I think Regal's promo was longer than the match, but I'm okay with that because it's William Regal.
Yeah, that was cool.
I mean, as long as it's not that length of a promo every single week, I'm okay with this. Here I am, in case you don't know who I am because you're younger. And I appreciate the fact that he did mention, a lot of younger talent or a lot of younger fans are watching now and may not truly know who he is.
Right.
Although I thought he was going to make a statement about Moxley being a cerebral assassin there for a minute, but he did not.
No, he did not. But great pickup for AEW. I don't know how WWE ever let him get away. He's going to be such a asset to all the talent backstage.
Yes.
And if you're watching our broadcast live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and if you want to leave a comment, please do so. You can comment on any topic we're talking about. You can ask us questions. We'd love to get you involved in the conversation.
Absolutely.
So, we then got a match between Wheeler Yuta and Pac, which I liked how commentary explained this one. It was because the World Championship didn't go the whole 60 minutes. They added this match. So I liked that. I liked how they explained getting it in there. But basically, Pac won a squash match, pretty much, making Wheeler Yuta tap out with the brutalizer.
It's Wheeler
Yuta. He had the full, well, not the full, no Orange Cassidy, but he had the best friends with him: Danhausen, Chucky T, Trent, and I don't know if Statlander was out there with him or not. I didn't
catch that.
Yeah, but
which is sad. I'm a Statlander fan. Normally, I notice when she's on TV, but I just didn't catch it.
But Pac won easily. We knew that was going to happen.
Oh yeah. Anytime you're taking on Wheeler Yuta, the other guy's winning.
But I don't think their story, the Death Triangle story with House of Black's done quite yet.
I don't think so.
We then get backstage the Cutler cam shown as Adam Cole says he knows Sunday wasn't the best night for any of them. He's talking to Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. However, Matt Jackson questions Red Dragon, then they begin arguing. Adam Cole tells them to stop, and he says next week they'll change things up. Cole says he has the perfect partners who are two of his very best friends. Matt tells him to count them out if it involves Hangman, but Cole says he wasn't picking them anyway. He was picking Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly as they walk away. Thoughts?
Yeah. Interesting, because it was truly, I mean, from the start of Adam Cole when he interrupted Hangman to back there, it sounded like he was going with the Bucks, two young men. They know how to throw a party.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought he was going to say the Bucks, but he went Red Dragon, and I think it's still planting more seeds.
I thought when he started the interview backstage, he was going to split the teams up and go Matt and Bobby, or Matt and Kyle, or Nick and Bobby, and Nick and Kyle. I thought he was going to split them up and do it like that.
Yeah, the way they kept kind of like gesturing back and forth. Even he was doing it a little bit. I was like, okay, he's going to get one from each.
Yep. But definitely, I mean, laying the seeds. And if you don't watch BT or aren't familiar with this, or familiar with what happened this past week, at the very end, a guy approached the Young Bucks, said, "You left this jacket in your locker room." They're like, "That's not our jacket," and it was Hangman's jacket.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That's why I know they haven't talked about blood or guts yet, but I think we're ultimately gonna get a blood and guts. But I don't know how many people they want on each side, because the Pinnacle and Inner Circle is 5-on-5.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only seeing Red Dragon's got 3. If Hangman would join the Bucks with the Elite, that's 3. You can throw in Omega in there somewhere, but there's others. I don't know what's going to happen.
Maybe a Switchblade or 2.
Could be. Yeah.
Switchblade, Omega. There you go. There's your 4-on-4.
Yeah.
So, because let's not forget, I didn't even mention that from the buy-in. Don Callis did show up.
He did.
Just, reminding everybody of the name, Kenny Omega.
Yep. Oh, and if anybody was wondering what kind of reaction Kenny's going to get when he comes back, he's going to get a huge ovation. And
yes,
I think he's going to have to turn babyface from heel pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. So,
absolutely.
Speaking of possibly turning babyface from heel, we see FTR being interviewed where Dax Harwood says wrestling was his first love. He tries to call out Red Dragon, but Tully Blanchard cuts him off, says he was brought in by them to win titles, but they argue about what it's all about. Cash Wheeler then says, "This is about family," and Tully, "You're not that. You're fired."
Yeah, that kind of caught me by surprise. He said that, and I was like, wait, what?
I guess Tully can just go back to Sean Spears now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think we're seeing the Pinnacle crumble. We see Wardlow, spoiler alert, coming up that he's not involved with Pinnacle anymore. It looks like we're possibly getting FTR face change, which I'm all for. I think that'd be cool.
So we're gonna have Sean Spears, MJF, and Tully Blanchard.
Yep.
There's an interesting tag team for you.
Yeah.
MJF
Absolutely.
and Sean Spears.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
We then see the AHFO. Glad I don't have to say that after this week.
What are we gonna have to call it now, though? The AOF.
AFO. They're all in the ring with Matt Hardy saying he wants to make things right, but Andrade wants to fire him. Andrade asks where Matt's suit is. Matt says when he puts on the suit, he transforms into an asshole, and Andrade knows what that's all about, and Jose certainly does. Poor Jose. He wants to make things right. Andrade says he wants to take a vote, but Matt says Private Party will never vote him out. They start doing the vote, but Private Party ends up turning against him. Saw that coming, giving a thumbs down behind his back. Andrade says you will always need to watch your back, and Matt turns around to see that they have indeed turned on him. The entire group then beats Matt up. With all members getting their shots in, Andrade then hits a big running boot. However, Darby and Steen make their way out. They hit the ring and start brawling with everybody inside the ring as well. They're still outnumbered. Then Jeffrey Nero Hardy, as JR called him, his music hits, and a lot of people on Twitter like, how can they use this music? It was Loaded, which that's the title of the Hardy Boys theme song. That's not owned by WWE.
No.
That is public domain. So that's how they were able to get that. And Fightful Select posted an update after Dynamite was off the air tonight. As seen on tonight's Dynamite, Jeff Hardy did use Loaded. Not only did AEW quickly gain the rights to use that theme when they found out Hardy was coming in, but they licensed the entire library that it was part of. So technically, AEW could use Hardcore and Crash Holly's theme if they wanted to.
Wow.
So Jeff Hardy's music hits. What I loved and cracked me up about this, Matt's getting beat up there, but Jeff still has to stop and do the juke real quick.
And cheer with the fans. The fans are, he's, acknowledging them. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait.
And Jeff comes in, helps them clean house, hits a swanton bomb. Jeff and Matt share a hug together. Hardy boys are back together. Jeff is all elite, but Darby looked like he was in shock.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Darby thinks he just saw a ghost or if he saw the next
older
tag
version
team
of himself.
championships. Yeah.
But Hardy boys are back. Crowd loves Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's been a fan favorite everywhere he's been, whether it's been WWE, TNA, now AEW. They already have a Jeff Hardy shirt and a Hardy Boys shirt on shopaew.com. I almost guarantee you those will be the top sellers at the end of the week.
And let's not forget here, I know this is probably not the most popular opinion, but Jeff's the better wrestler of the two Hardys.
He is. He's the one that's always got the more of the push. Matt's been the one that hasn't had as many troubles outside of the ring, I guess. He's had a couple too, but not as much as Jeff. But great to see them both so happy tonight. Let's enjoy this run while we can. We don't know how long it'll be for. Let's enjoy it. A little nostalgia going on.
Jeff's lost some weight, toned up a little bit.
I was always probably one of the rare ones, which I was a bigger Matt Hardy fan than I was a Jeff Hardy fan of the Hardy Boys.
Yeah. I just, from day one when I saw him, I didn't like Matt. I don't know. It's just there's always been something about Matt that I haven't liked since day one.
I always felt bad for him, and then I really became a fan of his when he came back to WWE after he got fired with the whole Edge and Lita thing, and then they got into that storyline. That's when I really became a fan of his. So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah. We then see another big addition of the AEW roster, Swerve Strickland, backstage as Tony Nese interrupted him. He says since they have a history of wrestling on Friday nights, he thinks they should do it again. Strickland agrees, saying he will beat that ass. That'll be a fun one on Rampage. Yep. Tony Schiavone's then back again, this time welcoming Wardlow to the ring. Wardlow says you always come to a moment whether you want to help someone else accomplish their dreams or take the chance to fulfill your own. Wardlow says before Max, he did a lot for someone and got nothing in return. Little did he know he was walking out of one cage and into another with Max. He knew Max wasn't a good person and he asked for forgiveness for associating with such trash, but he grew up very poor and had to watch his mother struggle raising him and his two older sisters. Max changed his life, and he thanks him for that. But it does not give him the right to disrespect someone like he did, or his family, threaten his family, or lay hands on them like he did last week. He says he's still under contract with Max, but he no longer gives a damn. He's no longer watching his back. He's not his bodyguard. He's not a member of the Pinnacle. He is finally free. Wardlow tells Max to be smart, and if he lets him go from his contract, he will leave him alone. He only cares about becoming TNT champion and obtaining a new contract. He will not stop at the TNT title, so he's letting everyone know in AEW this is Wardlow's world.
Great promo. Great promo. I mean, we've seen backstage interviews with Wardlow or off-camera interviews with Wardlow. The man can talk. He's finally getting that chance to. MJF, it was never really in there for him to even do anything because he was just the bodyguard. So I think a lot of people who don't follow anything post AEW, Dynamite, or maybe Dark or Elevation, they haven't seen Wardlow really deliver anything. And this was great to see it actually happen on television.
Yep. Nope. I texted you and our good friend of the show, Austin Shepard, who, speaking of Austin, he wants a shot at your predictions title. So we're going to have to make that happen. Either if there is a blood and guts, or if not, maybe he gets the title shot at Double or Nothing, triple threat. Who knows? We'll figure something out.
I'm a fighting champion. Bring it on, Austin.
Yep. But as I was telling both you guys, I think Wardlow's becoming my favorite wrestler in AEW.
You know, we'll take this back to mid-February. You may, or end of February, because you were off mid-February, slacker. You made the statement, you know, I've got to find a new favorite now that Cody's gone. I think you found him in Wardlow.
I think I have. I was a huge Dave Bautista fan, especially when Batista was young. Wardlow reminds me a lot of a young Dave Bautista. He's got the look. I like the short squash matches with the Powerbomb Symphony. I'm really going to dig this soon-to-be MJF Wardlow feud.
Karma's squashing that.
Maybe that's a segment next week. Maybe we can think about for a week. We come up with our top 5 favorite AEW talents as the date.
Okay.
I think that sounds like a fun segment. We can take a week to think about that. So
yeah.
We then see QT Marshall. I can guarantee he's not on my list. He's shown backstage with
on
Keith.
Anybody's?
Maybe his family's.
Maybe his own.
Yeah, his own. Yeah, 5 times.
He's not on the Nightmare Factory's top 5. That's for sure.
No. He's shown backstage with Keith Lee. He thinks they have a common enemy with Team Taz. QT says he has stroke in AEW, so he wants to let him know they have his back. Keith says he happens to have a large back and he's good. QT says that Lee will pay for that.
You know, my favorite part of this whole segment wasn't even the segment. It was, we go backstage now to Alex Marvez, who's with Keith Lee and QT Marshall. And Keith Lee, QT Marshall.
Yeah.
It's like right there, you know, which is it? Is it Marshall? Is it Marshall? Somebody make up my mind here.
Yep.
So
we then get the AEW Tag Team title match, Jurassic Express with Christian Cage against the Acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. Like always, Caster cut a good rap, this time mostly aimed at Jungle Boy, which was really good. Made me laugh pretty good.
Easy target.
Lines. Yep. Good match here. It went like we thought with Jurassic Express successfully defending the title, but there was a spot where they claimed hit a move on Jungle Boy. I don't know exactly what they call that move, but it was one of the closest calls I can remember in AEW. It was like 2.9 seconds and Jungle Boy kicked out. They really had me thinking, oh my God, the Acclaim's going to win the title there for a split second.
Mm-hmm. And big shout out to the referee.
The combination bomb, I believe they call it.
But yeah, big shout out to the referee of this match, Aubrey Edwards. It's her birthday today.
Yes, turned 35, I believe.
Oh, see, I wasn't going to give her age.
I will
never reveal a woman's age.
She put it on social media. She put it out there. So if she put it out there, I figured I can too.
They're allowed to.
But good win for Jurassic Express. They just keep racking up the wins. They're going to be teaming with Hangman Page. I forgot to mention that earlier, against Red Dragon and Adam Cole next week, because he let the Dark Order know that they thought they were going to team with them. They were trying to decide which two, and he said, I ran into Jurassic Express in the hallway. They wanted to get revenge on the Bucks. This was before Adam Cole chose the Red Dragon instead. So, what's going on with Hangman and Dark Order?
Planting seeds. That's what we're doing. We're
Yep.
farming.
Yeah.
We're in the early stages of farming here.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna see we've already started to see it with Reynolds after the shove at Revolution. Yep. I think something's gonna happen with each member to where they just start slowly not having anything to do with him, and then he'll just kind of work his way back in, and he'll be with the Bucks again, and then Kenny will come back.
Do you think it's too soon to turn Dark Order heel? Can you turn them heel ever again? With him kind of being a comedic act?
That's a tough one.
Because eventually Tin's going to have to break out on his own.
Because, but I mean, you could turn him heel right now, but the moment -1 shows up anywhere, they're face again.
Yeah, you're right. It's just, I don't know. It's just,
I think personally they need to be that in-betweener, that tweener group. They're not baby faces, but they're not heels.
Fair.
Let them do heelish things while staying baby face, kind of like Cody used to do, but maybe a little more heelish.
Yep.
I think it'd work perfect for Dark Order. Bring back join the Dark Order.
Going back to the tag team match, Jungle Boy was another one that impressed me a ton on Sunday. That triple threat tag team match, I thought that was fantastic. Some of the offense he displayed was amazing. I'm still looking for the day he breaks out in the singles on his own, because I think he's going to be a huge star. How far away are we to dropping the Jungle Boy and just calling him Jack Perry?
Well, see, that's the problem we're going to have, because Jungle Boy said he doesn't want Jack Perry because he wants to establish a legacy apart from his father's, and he's afraid the last name will, it's Luke's kid.
But you can tell how JR and some others feel about that when they're calling him Jack Perry more times than not, because eventually, I mean, I know he's still in his mid-20s. Eventually, he's going to be too old. You can't call him Jungle Boy anymore.
Okay, so when are we going to stop calling the Young Bucks the Young Bucks?
Well, that's a good point, but
when do they become the middle-aged Bucks?
It's a little different, but that's a good point. I don't know.
Shark Boy is still Shark Boy, and I mean,
Shark Boy's no talent.
Older than us,
like Jungle Boy, but
not many are.
I don't know. I just thought of that today.
I think it'll become Jack or Jungle Boy Jack. I don't think he'll ever fully go Jack Perry, but I think we'll add
Jungle Boy Jack's not too bad, I guess. But
Jungle Jack
or Jungle Jack,
something. Yeah, Tarzan Man.
We then get a #1 contenders match for the AEW World Championship. Layla Hirsch versus Thunder Rosa. Pretty fun match here. A lot of back and forth. A lot of technical wrestling going on at the beginning. Towards the end of the match, we see Thunder Rosa hit a fireman's carry and a running clothesline, but Layla Hirsch kicked out yet again. She then goes to use the turnbuckle rod again when the referee wasn't looking, but Red Velvet appears and stops her. However, back in the ring, Layla secures an arm submission as Thunder Rosa got to the ropes. Layla misses a running knee strike and then gets hit with a Thunder Driver to win.
There were a few moments. I mean, I knew Thunder was winning this match, but there were a few moments where I was starting to second guess myself.
Well, it's good for Layla Hirsch. She's finally getting the TV time she deserves. She's getting some wins.
She's a young talent. She's going to be in the company for a while. Or even if she doesn't stay with AEW, she's got a bright future ahead of her no matter what. She's going to do great things.
After the match, Shivani is on the microphone. It says next week Thunder gets a title shot against Britt Baker, and it will be inside a steel cage match. So you got to think that's going to be – it's the one-year anniversary from when she beat Britt in the Lights Out unsanctioned match, street fight, whatever you want to call it. It was my match of the year last year. I think these two will tear it down inside steel cage to keep Britt's posse away. It's in San Antonio, Thunder Rosa's hometown. Got to think Thunder's becoming and new next week, right?
Oh, we're saying and new next week. I'll say that right now.
It's time.
Thunder wins next week.
I think it's time. So, one thing I missed in my notes earlier, Jade Cargill, we saw a spot with her, and she's talking about how next opponent in line, it's a big one because it's for 30-0. So, who though? Who?
I don't
Impact's
know because
Jordan
she's beat
Grace.
everybody.
She's ready to kick down the forbidden door on Twitter.
Paige Vanzant.
Yeah, we'll talk about her in a bit.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're not there yet.
We're
I got ahead of myself. Sorry.
We're getting there because one thing I got ahead of myself is Britt Baker appeared backstage. She says it's more conspiracy going on. Thunder should be at the back of the line, but Britt is not afraid of it. She's afraid of what happens if Carney riffraff like Rosa gets the title.
Yes. During the match and the way some things have been said, do you think the relationship between Britt and Tony Schiavone is slowly falling apart?
Didn't notice anything. I guess I haven't been picking up on that.
Well, Excalibur made a comment about, Tony, even you have to admit that the championship was stolen from her. And just the way he responded, he was like, yeah, it was. But when there's that many people on either side of the ring and you're the ref, and he tried to turn it midway through that, it wasn't really stolen. But I think it's slowly starting to fall apart.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to keep our eyes on.
Adam Cole's fault.
Yep.
I still waiting. Yeah, I'm still waiting for that Adam Cole, Tony Schiavone winner gets Britt match.
Oh God. Oh Lord. We then get the main event, the TNT Champion match between champion Sammy Guevara and challenger Scorpio Sky, who was undefeated the past year.
Yes.
A lot of people probably didn't know that because a lot of his matches were on Dark and Dark Elevation, not Dynamite.
Yeah, but he had a great record.
Yes, those two guys are going back and forth. Sammy takes down Scorpio Sky at the legs. The fight spills up to the outside. Scorpio gets a few shots in, but Sammy then dives into the barricade repeatedly. The Spanish God then breaks out of the table as Sky gets launched to the stairs. Sammy then sets up Scorpio on the table outside the ring, and he launches himself to the outside. Scorpio moves, and Sammy goes through the table hard. This was a 450 splash. Sammy scared me to death with his Spanish fly on the tables of Isaiah Cassidy on Sunday because the tables didn't really break. He scared me here again tonight. I'm like, this guy's one of my favorites to watch because he's so entertaining, but I'm scared he's going to kill himself one of these days on accident.
Well, yeah, and back to Revolution real quick. He didn't move for a few seconds after he did that Spanish fly.
Looked like he was knocked out cold.
Yeah, I think Sammy might have knocked himself out because his head hit one of those tables. One of those tables broke from his head.
Well, I think Isaiah actually took more of the brunt of it too.
Yeah, so I think they both kind of knocked themselves out for a few seconds there.
Yeah. And then the whole time on picture in picture, Sammy's girlfriend Tay Conte's down, and so's Doc Sampson. They're checking Sammy out. He's pointing to his ribs. He gets up. He acts like he's walking backstage, and then he shoves him away and gets back into the ring. Then let's see here. Where am I on my notes? Sammy then spits at Scorpio Sky, and they start brawling as Scorpio dumps him to the outside of the ring again. Tay then ends up arguing with Paige Vanzant, who you just mentioned, at ringside while back in the ring. Sky hits a backbreaker. He continues forcing on the back, but Sammy continues to kick out. Sammy tries to throw a few punches. Then he almost steals it with a roll-up. Sammy then connects with a back heel kick and then connects with the springboard cutter, but Sky kicked out at 2. Sammy then hits the GTH, but Sky rolls under the ropes. Veteran move there by Scorpio. He then goes for the shooting stars press, but Scorpio gets his knees up. Dan Lambert then gets to the apron as Ethan Page tries to interfere, but Tay Conte stops him. However, Paige Vanzant then appears and attacks her. She launches Tay Conte into the stairs, which distracts Guevara. Scorpio then hits the TKO to become the new TNT champion. After the match, Scorpio Sky attacks Sammy Guevara with the belt while Vanzant attacks Tay Conte, dumping her on top of her boyfriend Sammy Guevara. She then signs her official AEW contract on Tay Conte's body to close the show.
Yes. We were talking when the Rhodes family, we'll call them for right now, left, where that left Scorpio
Yes.
Sky, Paige Vanzant. I think we just found it.
Yeah, I
Honestly.
think it's a good pivot. And
Yes.
Scorpio becomes the first person in AEW history to hold the TNT title and the tag team title at one time. Didn't see that coming. I got to be honest. I thought next week it was going to be Wardlow versus Sammy, but when I got thinking it through the match, I'm like, that'll be tough next week because now all of a sudden that's face against face.
Yeah, but it's one of those that would have been okay.
Yeah,
Because Wardlow's still not officially face. I mean, he's face. He came out the face tunnel, but he's still under contract, so that still technically makes him a heel. So that's how you could have spun that one.
but it's good on Scorpio Sky. I mean, he's been up in the rankings
Yes.
for a while. This is a guy who had his AEW contract extended multiple years last year. A guy that both of us had said, where is he? What's he doing? Him and Ethan Page don't need Lambert. Good use of Lambert and Van Zant tonight. I'm excited about Van Zant coming into the company. I think we see her feud now with Tay Conte, which was supposed to be Brandy Rhodes. Like you kind of mentioned, I think it was supposed to be Dustin and Cody versus Men of the Year. At least that's where I was picking up Cody and somebody. I just figured it was going to be Dustin. But good storyline for them to find themselves in. That leads me to the question, Paul. Who wins next week at St. Patrick's Day Slam? Wardlow or Scorpio Sky? Does Scorpio only keep the title for 1 week?
Right after the pin happened, I said Wardlow wins it next week. I text that like right after it happened. But then I remembered that Paige was supposed to sign her contract tonight, and then she did. And I quickly pivoted because I think Scorpio is somehow, with the Men of the Year's help, or whatever they're all as a collective called, Dan Lambert's little boys.
What is their faction called? Why am I blanking
I
on the
don't
name?
know. I can't
America
think
Top
of it.
Team.
Okay, there we go. With the help of American Top Team, I think Scorpio is going to retain, and then we're going to see that feud take off between Tay and Paige Vanzant, and then Sammy and either Scorpio or Paige's husband, or somebody from American Top Team.
I agree with you, and I think Scorpio defends it. I don't think he loses in 1 week because I think a lot of Twitter would be up in an uproar if he lost in 1 week.
Twitter's going to be in an uproar whether he wins or loses next week.
I guess what I'm saying is Tony's got to be careful if he lets Scorpio lose it after a week because
absolutely,
a lot of the African American fan base would be up in arms.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm not trying to turn this into a race or anything like
that.
No.
But it is exactly what would happen.
And he's been outspoken by having minority champions and everything. So
yeah,
giving him title shots. So if he did that, that would be a bad look. And I think a guy named MJF costs Wardlow next week.
Oh, okay.
Didn't see him on TV at all this week. We know we're going to get that feud. That feud doesn't need the TNT title. I would love Wardlow to be champion, and he will be champion. But Wardlow MJF, which is probably going to happen at Double or Nothing, you can play it out the next 2 months. It doesn't need a title. You can have him get through Spears first or whatever. I think Spears, maybe Spears, or MJF, maybe a combination of both, get involved and cost Wardlow the title next week.
But see, here's the question. FTR fired Tully.
Right.
They didn't quit the Pinnacle.
Not yet.
So could they somehow, MJF says, I go out there and make sure he loses. Now the question becomes, will the TNT match be the main event, or will it be lower on the card?
I think
just so that you can have a good post-match segment.
With it being in the steel cage match, the first ever women's steel cage match, Thunder Rosa's hometown, AEW women's title, presumably Thunder Rosa taking the strap off Brett. I think you close the show with that.
Okay.
I think the TNT title match, I would lead off with it next week. But maybe they have it the 9 o'clock slot. Or maybe they lead off with the 6-man tag. I don't know. They like to lead off with tags. So,
yeah.
It'll be fun, but a fun episode of Dynamite tonight. What rating do you give it, and who's your wrestler of the night?
I will give it a solid 8 this week. There were a few spots, Hager especially, that
That
once
was
he
dangerous for him.
struggled to get Eddie up, he should have just changed it on the fly, set Eddie down somehow, and said, "It ain't gonna happen. Let's do something else. Let me shove you through it instead, or something." They should have done something there. I'm definitely gonna be watching Twitter tonight and tomorrow to make sure that Eddie is okay. At least from my own knowledge, if nothing else. But yeah, I'll stick with an 8 for that reason.
I'm going 9. I really enjoyed tonight's
Ooh.
show. I thought it was maybe the best one we've ever gotten after a pay per view. Exciting debut of Jeff Hardy. We all knew it was coming, but it was still cool to see, and it was great to hear that music again, the loaded music. Um, I enjoyed the opening spot besides the Hager spot. I enjoyed this. I did not see that heel turn coming like it did. I thought all the matches were pretty good tonight. I like the seeds being planted between the Bucks and Adam Cole. I like FTR potentially being a babyface. Loved Wardlow's promo tonight. I was shocked by the result of the main event, so that got me. I like when I can still get shocked by the result. Um, love the William Regal stuff with Mox and Danielson. Just a lot tonight I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. All right.
wrestler of the night, I'll let you go first.
Oh man. This is a tough one.
Is it?
Um it is, but it isn't. I gotta go with a loser here. I mean,
Oh,
I'm sorry. I know you're probably thinking the winner of the main event was who I would go with. I'm gonna go with Dante Martin.
okay.
He got his shot at the title. He's just turned 21. I
Yeah.
mean, at 21, I was going, man, I wouldn't mind being on a wrestling show one day. And here he is doing it.
Yep.
So, I mean, win or lose, I love watching the kid. Like you said, he's on. I got to stop what I'm doing and give him my full attention.
So he might be on Paul's top 5 list next week, is what you're
He
saying.
might be. He might
Okay.
be.
Well, I got to go with Scorpio Sky for my superstar of the night just because he finally gets individual gold. Been a long time coming for him. Might not got it cleanly, but he's a heel. He's not supposed to get it done cleanly.
Still miss here in SCU.
And Sammy was a fun champion. I mean, he was a fighting champion. I think they said he defended 7 or 8 times already in the short time he had it. So yeah, we'll see
Yeah.
where the title reign goes with Scorpio at defense number 1 against Wardlow next week's gonna be tough.
It will. Definitely gonna have to pull off some heel stuff there to win that match, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, it's gonna be a fun card next weekend. Looks like a fun rampage on Friday night too.
Yeah. Yep. So let's make this official, shall we? Before we go any further, we'll do some KOP business here.
Okay.
I am a fighting champion. I have told you that since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Next pay-per-view. What
Double
do
or
we got?
nothing.
Double or nothing. So let's do it. Triple threat match. You, me, and Austin Shepard for the KOP Predictions Championship.
I'm down. Sounds
I'm
like
down.
Austin's gonna have to join us the week of Double or Nothing if he can.
All right. Looking forward to it. So if not, we'll have to get his predictions ahead of
Right.
time. So that way we can present them to you. And and still, just saying, and still, I might be on a little bit of a high from that perfect card.
Well, and I
Okay.
gotta be honest, I was feeling more confident going into Revolution than I had the previous 2 pay-per-views.
I was not.
I was so confident. I mean, that's why I went with Thunder Rosa big time on points. I thought that was going to be my winning pick, and it backfired on me. I missed that, and I missed the Danielson match, which I only had 2 points on, so that didn't really matter. I knew that was going to be a tough one either way. So,
Yeah.
yep. But kudos to you. Perfect score, 9 out of 9. That was impressive.
I think you and Austin have got me on my high still from getting that 9 out of 9. And I think if Austin would have waited till next week to say, I want this, I probably would have said, wait till Tanner wins it and you can have
Well,
it.
you know what's going to be tough at Double or Nothing. It's going to be the finals of the Own Heart Cup.
I know.
So that's going to be tough
I
to
know.
predict too.
Yeah, so I've already got an uphill battle against me. So I'm looking forward to this. So Austin, be watching every single week. Keep listening to KOP podcast just like everybody else. And can't wait to hear your predictions. And hopefully you at least beat Tanner.
Fair enough.
He's not going to beat me, so he's got to beat you.
Fair enough.
It's only fair.
Fair
it's only
enough.
fair. I don't want to
Fair
call
enough.
him a flat out loser. I like
the,
Austin too much to do
let
that.
the guest beat somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. But with that, be sure to listen to the Kicking Out podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if that happens to be Apple Podcasts, be sure to give us a 5-star rating.
And I think you can do that on Spotify now, if I'm not mistaken. I think Spotify added that feature not too long ago. So,
okay. Well, if they have, be sure to give us a 5-star rating everywhere you can give us a 5-star rating. Check out our merchandise store. And we've got that promo code going for us, Madness, all capital letters, and free shipping on all orders through. When was that through, Tanner?
April 10th. So a month from when this episode will be published.
So there you go. Be sure to go get you some KOP merchandise, whether it's a coffee cup, a t-shirt, a hoodie, or even a tank top. And don't forget, we still got our store up at Pro Wrestling Tees. And that's the only place you're going to get the shirt that Tanner's wearing, because that is not on our merch store. That is only on Pro Wrestling Tees. That's a Pro Wrestling Tees exclusive.
Yes, sir.
And be sure to follow Kicking Out Podcast on all social media at Kicking Out Pod. Follow Tanner Lee at Tanner Lee 92. Follow myself at Paul Zartman 921. And join us again next week as we kick out another podcast.